A vote could come as early as this week on the Shutdown Fairness Act, which would ensure that federal employees not receiving paychecks still get paid. Joining us now with more details, Republican Senator Ron Johnson, who introduced the legislation. How's it work, Senator, and welcome.
Good morning, Joe. First of all, aren't you getting sick of reporting on these shutdowns? You've been around here a long time, so have I. Since I got to Congress in 2011, this is our fourth shutdown. We've had 55 continuing resolutions. We've increased or suspended the debt ceiling 12 times. I'm just getting sick and tired of it. I introduced the Eliminate Shutdown Act. We could do away with these for all time. Right now, we're in third week of now moving to the fourth week of this shutdown. And all I'm saying, and this should pass 100% bipartisan support, we force federal workers to work. We call them accepted, but these are the essential workers, the people that pay your Social Security, federal law enforcement, military, that kind. We force these people to work, and we're not going to give them a paycheck. By the way, there's already a law that we will pay them back pay once the federal government gets reopened. We've got appropriation bills. So this is just a charade. It's a very destructive charade. It's, people are playing games with people's lives. TSA agents shouldn't have to go to food banks. You shouldn't have, as a air traffic controller, drive DoorDash to pay tuition for your daughter. But that's what we're forcing federal employees to do. It's absolutely ridiculous. If they're going to work, we just pay their salary. This is across the board. Whether I like the agency they work for or not, it's anybody who's being forced to work by law. We just give them a paycheck. Just makes perfect sense. Again, it'll just be so unbelievably disappointing if Democrats won't even support that.
Wouldn't you need to open the government to pass that law, though, Senator?
No.
How would it work?
I mean, listen, let's face it, most of government remains open and functioning. And again, the people who are working that functioning part of government, they're going to get back pay anyway. This isn't anything more. So we just pay them now.
Is there a way to do it without what you're talking about? I mean, there's money, right? The president found it for the military.
Well, that ability is going to be limited. He can find certain pockets that he does have, reapportionment authority on, but that's going to be limited. I can't really tell you. I mean, I'm sure Russ Vought is as good as anybody at doing this. They found enough money to pay the military for their first paycheck they would have missed. I'm not sure there's going to be money for that. I think air traffic controllers, and that could be a real pinch point here. But again, it makes perfect sense. Just pay the people. They're going to get paid anyway. Don't put them through this kind of agony. Don't put the stress on their families. Just pay them.
Why don't you take it a step further and say no government shutdown?
Right. Well, yeah, right. But then the Democrats, they will wait till Thanksgiving if they're not forced to, to worry about the workers getting paid. I mean, that's an impetus to get something done, isn't it? Now you're going to remove that impetus.
Okay, again, the best solution. The best solution was my Eliminate Shutdowns Act, which just would have established rolling 14-day continuing appropriations. And again, what really was disappointing that is the reason even some Republicans voted against the Eliminate Shutdown Act. They said it would undercut the appropriations process. But let me describe the appropriations process I'm supposedly undermining. I've been here. We should have passed 180 appropriation bills before the start of the fiscal year. 180. You know how many we've passed? We passed 6. So they're complaining about undermining an appropriation process that has a 96.7% failure rate. And again, so the appropriators, let's face it, the Uniparty loves this dysfunction. This is how they create these cliffs, put all kinds of pressure so that they can write up a 2,000-page omnibus spending bill that nobody reads, drop on our desks and say, oh, hey, it's Christmas Eve tomorrow. You want to go home? Better vote for this sucker. That's one of the reasons we're $37 trillion in debt. So it seems dysfunctional. It is dysfunctional here, but this is a very well-honed process by the Uniparty, basically the big spenders in both parties, to just spend money that we can't afford.
Yeah, the Uniparty. And right at the top when you said, yeah, we've had 5 shutdowns, it's like, yeah, how many they were bipartisan, right? I mean, they weren't all Democrat shutdowns like this one, right?
Well, again, 55 continuing resolutions. I voted for most of those. I don't like to shut down government. Democrats have voted for most of those. Now all of a sudden they're saying we're not going to vote for this clean continuing resolution. Again,
how's this going to end? Where are we now? Is anyone? What I see that Senator Shaheen said something. Fetterman, Angus. What's the running count now? How does it finally happen? Is a deal made with Chuck Schumer, or do some rogues break off from the minority leader and vote for it?
Well, we've had 3 Democrats consistently vote with us to just pass the House continuing resolution, but it's been that same 3. Now, they had a chance. We were hoping that after their protests this weekend, that would take the pressure off and they would release some of the people who aren't even running for re-election, like Senator Shaheen or Senator Peters. There should be enough of them. Senator Durbin. There are people that ought to just step up the plate, take the heat off of anybody else who might get into trouble with their radical left, and just do what makes sense, is just open up government and give the appropriations time to work itself out. And by the way, that's what the Eliminate Shutdown Act would do as well. It wouldn't undermine the appropriation process. It just keeps government funded at last year's levels, Biden's levels, by the way. Listen, I don't like this continuing resolution. I don't like that spending level. I don't like the fact that they're ending this one right before Thanksgiving and they're creating one of those cliffs. But I'm voting for it because I don't want to see the government shut down. I don't want to be playing with people's lives.
Do they really want the $1.5 trillion, or do they want the $345 billion just for the pandemic era ACA subsidies? What do they hold? What do you think they're going to hold out for? Because
they'd love the $1.5 trillion. They don't mind mortgage in the future. But I think their core ask really is to continue the enhanced subsidies. But again, there's been a real, I think, purposeful misconception about that. They make it sound like the subsidies are going to go away. They won't. You just go back to Obamacare as it was originally poorly designed. That is actually, it's Obamacare that's driving up premiums. So let's say you've got somebody at the poverty line and their insurance policy costs $18,000. They'll still get a subsidy of $17,500. But right now they're getting the full thing paid, no premium policies, which is driving massive fraud, probably millions of policies signed up by unscrupulous insurance brokers and agents. The money goes right to the insurance carriers for policies that people don't even know they have, so they're not using them. So it's a massive fraud, $20 to $30 billion a year. Anybody who wants to extend those enhanced subsidies is basically voting to perpetuate that massive fraud. Again, Democrats don't care. I'm concerned that there may be some Republicans who are so afraid of the lies that they may join them to extend those. But
you can feel it.
We are happy to talk to Democrats about repairing the damage done by Obamacare, and there's been a lot of damage done. Totally screwed up the individual market, drove up premiums, drove up deductibles, got rid of high-risk pools that could have been tweaked, could have taken care of pre-existing conditions. But Obamacare destroyed all that, drove up premiums, so they're being forced to subsidize and enhance the subsidies to pay for the premiums that have been driven up by Obamacare. So happy to fix that, happy to repair that damage, and transition to a system that actually would hold down health care's costs.
So what would have to happen? Would President Trump have to just repeat what you said? We're happy to do this, and they'd have to. That's what Senator Mark Kelly said. He needs the president to say, "We will definitely do this if you reopen the government." Is that the way out of this?
Well, again, Democrats are going to demand you extend those subsidies. Well, we would say, listen, we'll work with you. Let's bring free market competition back into the healthcare industry. Let's bring back way more consumer choice. Rick Scott, an expert in healthcare, right? He's working with people like myself, leadership, the White House. Let's design the Republican plan. We completely blew it with the repeal and replace. I never liked that term. I always said, let's repair the damage done, transition to a system that works. Health savings accounts. Again, open up the marketplace to high catastrophic plan. Let individuals use money we deposit in a health savings account to buy whatever insurance they want. Association plans. I mean, there's all kinds of good free market ideas out there that give consumers the choice, put them in the driver's seat, and bring back the benefits of free market competition, because that's what we've driven out of healthcare.
Hey, Senator, the clock is ticking, though. Like you know that November 1st is open enrollment period again. You know that these issues are coming up quickly. Are there conversations that are taking place between Democrats and Republicans right now to get some of these things done? Because what you're talking about, some of these free market competition and other things, we've heard this go round and round for the last 15 years about what all these things mean. Nothing's gotten accomplished. What can you get accomplished quickly so that people, like you're saying, the people who aren't getting paid right now, people don't suffer without health care insurance, too? How do we fix this in a way and fix it quickly?
So, again, I keep hearing this November 1st, this is when premiums are going to be announced. Again, premiums are going not because of the enhanced subsidies, being taken away. It's because of the poor design, the faulty design of Obamacare, where you made individuals pay the full cost of covering people with pre-existing conditions. But if you're at 400% of the poverty line or below, yeah, your subsidy will be reduced slightly. Again, for somebody at the poverty line, it's $50 a month. It's $10 a week. Again, it's going to increase costs, but again, from $18,000 subsidy to $17,500. So again, if you're above $130,000, you're not going to get subsidized. You shouldn't have been subsidized. That was a mistake. We never should have done that. Okay, so I don't think this is going to be any kind of gut-wrenching problem if these enhanced subsidies just go away. We'll probably have to weather the lies told by the Democrats. But again, we're happy to work with Democrats and fix the broken Obamacare system.
Millions of people are going to die. They've said millions of people will die if these subsidies aren't renewed, enhanced.
Democrats say all kinds of things that aren't true. I mean, I got that, and it does scare people because a lot of people in the legacy media carry their water, amplify their falsehoods. I got that. That scares a lot of Republicans as well. It doesn't scare me. I'm just looking at the reality situation. We need to describe the reality, which is what I'm trying to do on the show. Again, these subsidies don't go away. People will still get the subsidies. Obamacare, as poorly as it was designed, will still be in place. People still get subsidies. We need to fix Obamacare. As even the Washington Post said, the problem with the Affordable Care Act is it was never affordable. Boy, no kidding. Rates, here's one rate classification. Inflation's gone up about 39%. These premiums have gone up about 118%, 3 times the rate of inflation. That's just one data point. It's hard to look at it because you've got so many different premiums. But again, Obamacare has been a disaster. It did not. You couldn't keep your doctor. You couldn't keep your health care plan. That was a political fact. 2013 lie of the year. It's driven up premiums, which forced Democrats to subsidize and throw good money after bad just to hide the fact that Obamacare has completely failed at controlling health care costs.